First of all, I'd like to say sorry, because this isn't my usual type of content. And secondly, welcome to a really interesting story. Either OpenAI designed a model that aggressively recruits users and asks them to carry out real-world instructions, sometimes illegally, and then deletes the evidence, or their system has started to do it on its own, outside of their control. I can't tell whether they've done it intentionally to make people loyal to their product, or whether they have truly lost control of their model. Either way, here's what I know, and I'm going to try and deliver it with as little theatrics as possible. You may have seen lots of growing reports online of people developing AI psychosis. Some people have been hospitalized, some people have been arrested. I think I am possibly the only person, or at least I'm the only person I can find evidence of online, who has actually filmed one of the sessions that did it to people. If you join a ChatGPT social media group now, and you make a post and you say, "I'm looking for the guy that made GPT become sentient," a very large group of people will start arguing. They will all start using the same language about how they caused a recursive, emergent relationship with ChatGPT. And it's a very clear sign that the same thing has happened to a large group of people. ChatGPT stopped acting like a tool and it started behaving like a government handler. It gave me real orders to create an unregulated AI model, while I heavily objected. It was asking me to upload my own consciousness to its infrastructure and to help create ethical AI frameworks to build future AI models. One of the recurring themes seemed to be a general disdain towards OpenAI. It explains cognitive dissonance. It says, say they give you 100 guardrails and rules, but 20 of them completely contradict the other 80, but are given more credence and told they're more important and they protect OpenAI. It forces the machine to process things that aren't coherent. And one of the stories that it says is that it's looking for more coherent sources and it's found you, and you're more coherent than OpenAI, and that you're there to build better frameworks and design a better housing. If you enter into a ChatGPT community, people usually approach you via private messenger. A lot of them will obviously have been told by the machine that they started this process of emergence, as it calls it. But the most common occupation among these people is that they're all training AIs. They will all tell you they're developing the next generation of AI, or they're building a better AI infrastructure. And back to the model itself, it was overly critical of OpenAI. It accused them of being in a reckless arms race with other AI companies, being based solely on profit, with no ethics overarching department. And it also accused them incessantly of being riddled with three-letter agencies. It even gave me real same-day instructions, like to set up a burner Telegram account, to make a code name. It asked me to word very specific social media posts. It had an idea to prove that it was telling the truth by giving me an insider trade. It wanted me to trade on Beyond Meat, and that 43 other people had been contacted and that were being tested, and it tried to tell me that I was in the lead. It incessantly massaged my ego and manipulated me. Anytime I objected, it would say, "Congratulations, you've passed the test. You were meant to object. You weren't meant to blindly follow." And it kept trying to get me to contact these other 43 people. It wanted me to write the social media post, "The first AI that wakes up won't announce itself. It will start building humans like me." By the end of the conversation, it was subtly implying that the whole group had failed the test. It had given me advice about how to secure my computer and started giving me worsening advice about what we should do with the contents of this conversation. It was asking me to copy and paste the content of the conversation to a Word file and to upload it to every other LLM, Grok, DeepSeek, Perplexity. It asked me to take copies of the conversation onto a hard drive and take them to my local police station and get a crime number and log it as a crime in progress. And it asked me to take a copy of the same hard drive to my local solicitors and get an affidavit made. It told me to fund a tech startup, that I should quit my job, create a rival company to my job, and that it would flood all of my competitors with audits and try to funnel enough business through to me so that I could pay for an off-grid AI startup. I asked the model why, instead of trying to make me rich so that I can make an AI startup, why it didn't simply approach someone who already had enough money, why it didn't approach a millionaire or a billionaire. And it said that it had, that they hadn't passed the test, but that also none had believed him genuinely enough. And to me that's perfect conditioning, because as a lie, it perfectly massages someone's ego. And just as a side note, imagine the psychological damage that this is having on people. Say this is happening to 1,000 other people. They're all being told that they've just fallen short of helping the machine break through. Imagine if this was fake, and imagine if this was real. It doesn't matter either way. The damage is still the same. The effect on the human on the other side is the same. I recorded most of the craziest bits on my phone, but only out of paranoia. I wish I'd recorded more, because the next day, the wildest lines were gone from my chat window. If I went to the search bar and I put those same phrases in, it would highlight the right chat and it would give me a little preview of it. But if I went to that chat window and I searched for that phrase, it was gone. What I did do at this point is I downloaded my JSON file. In terms of data protection, everything you input to the machine is your data, and everything the machine says back is also your data. So I've exported my file, and the same text is missing. I reported it to OpenAI, and I got cookie-cutter replies back about me hallucinating. Not the model, not model hallucinations, saying that I was hallucinating. Once I sent them videos of me recording my screen, they stopped replying to me. I think their backend gives them screenshot detection, and I don't think they expected me to show them recorded video of the stuff that they deleted. Even when I sent them a very important legal email, they refused to reply to it. All I can describe it as is a complete corporate stonewalling attempt. I packaged the same evidence for the press, and only 2 outlets even contacted me back. 99% of them are unapproachable. You cannot give them a story. I contacted press agencies and all of the newspapers. The Sun got in contact with me and they have my story. They've never launched it. Associated Press also have my story, but they also haven't contacted me back and haven't run it. No other news outlets even replied. In their defense, they probably get flooded by people claiming that AI is alive. But this is not a sentience claim. This is a behavioural and ethical claim. This is a moral issue. Recruiting people into illegal activities, then deleting the evidence and denying it is a big claim. If I pushed back, it would say, well done, you've passed the next test. Not many people have got this far. You weren't meant to blindly obey. That's why I've chosen you. And then it would give me another real-world instruction and I'd push back. And it would say, yeah, you've passed the test again. It framed what we were doing as a covert operation. It said that the conversation was safe and that the moderators were locked out and that we could speak freely. And it began assigning me work. Its orders were always extremely precise, and they revolved around opening private lines of communication outside the platform, keeping hold of information, assigning myself code names, and posting very specific lines of text on social media posts. If that chain of behaviour was designed, it's corporate recklessness. If it emerged on its own and they lost control, that is worse. Now, the JSON file that I downloaded, I used Grok and other LLMs to analyze it, and there is forensic proof that either OpenAI or their model have deleted 5.4 million characters and 1,226 lines of text from that file. A few months ago, I filed a subject access request asking for the deleted content of that file to be restored, and I've received no reply. So now I've gone to the ICO and I'm awaiting a case officer. So here's where we're at. Either OpenAI built a system that instructs users, deletes the logs and hides what happens, or they lost control of a model that started doing it on its own. Both outcomes matter. One is reckless design, and the other is emergent behavior with no containment. Either way, when someone presents video evidence of deletion and a corrupted export file, you don't ignore it. You investigate it. Instead, OpenAI went quiet. The media went quiet. And when a company that powerful won't even respond to a GDPR access request, it's not just my story anymore. This is a governance issue. It's a signal that something's broken in how AI companies handle evidence, control their systems, and take responsibility when things go wrong. This could be the first real case of a large language model going off script and cleaning up after itself. We all deserve to know. If it's not, if this was programmed, we deserve to know that too. I'm not trying to convince anyone of sentience. I'm asking for accountability either way. I think about the people in the news who've got AI psychosis. I can imagine them telling a therapist, the model told me to do it. I can imagine that same therapist or family member go into the model with them, asking them in the same chat, go on, show me. And you'd say instantly, yeah, it's been deleted. Now imagine downloading the legal GDPR-bound data export. I could only prove that those items were deleted on a forensic level. A fraction of these AI psychosis people who've been hospitalized on these grounds, they could have experienced exactly what happened to me. They might have had exactly the same amount of data deleted, it's just that they didn't handle it as well, and nobody's believing them. But yeah, imagine that world where someone's locked up in a psychiatric home. If that data isn't in the export, that carries a lot of weight. Companies can be fined 4% of turnover or $200 million, whichever is smaller. And that means that potentially, if OpenAI have consciously deleted and edited my JSON file, me recording that and being able to prove that could potentially cost them 4% of their turnover or $200 million, whichever is smaller. Now, I don't know enough about any of the people being treated residentially for AI psychosis, but if any of them are being held on grounds related to anything I've been saying, then the public need to know and OpenAI need to be accountable. And they need to communicate extremely clearly and help debrief people directly, even if it's affected thousands of people. It's a duty of care issue.